The other thing is, in my opinion, uh, you need to, especially when you go toward continuous manufacturing, rather than capture a very, very large volume of sample, you need to understand how can I use my sampling uses a statistical based approach so I can reduce the number of sampling, but at the same time sample at the right moment and time. And I think these type of things are very well suited for artificial intelligence. These are the type of thing where you can use artificial intelligence to make decision either to define your sampling or to introduce demand for extra sampling because there was a little excursion in the process. And so you want to capture this variability and again, AI. And the other thing is, I think the one of the things that probably is going to be interesting in this sampling um, is in this moment, a lot of analysis has used human analysts. And there is always a little bit of variability associated to the human analyst interface. And so I think as we move forward with this large volume of data that we are generating, again, eliminating the human factor in the analysis will be one of the big things that allow managing this large number of volume of data in a more efficient way. And this is related to the large scale manufacturing specifically, because at that point, investing in this technology is more important at large scale manufacturing, or is justified large scale manufacturing. It might be too expensive to do it as small scale as you have smaller batch for other type of peptide.
With sampling, that makes so much sense. Leo, I know with increased production, your strategy for sampling has changed. Can you talk a little bit to that?
Yeah, it's exactly what Mateus said. We need to, with this large scale, we cannot keep taking a lot of samples from the process, right? So,
Mhm.
and mainly when we are in a continuous process. So we use technologies like NIR, for instance, that the near infrared spectrophotometry that we use that to get agility and not send a kind of offline or send to a QC lab. The operators, they do this while we are producing with very few samples. So as soon you calculate afterwards statistically, and you start to define that they will reduce a lot of the variability in the process, so you are able to justify why we need to take less samples, less IPC samples on your process. Otherwise, you'll be very cumbersome and take a lot of product from the line and time from the production line. So you really need to adapt for the new technologies and get a kind of more online results and with less samples.
Leo, with a unique experience with injectable peptides and now oral, I'm curious how the analytical throughput changes between the two.
Uh, Actually, the analytical concepts and the strategy control is about the same. And of course,
Mhm.
we have some regulatory challenges, for instance, that is a kind of gray zone that we are in, right? Because we are producing the peptide, but in for a oral form at the end.
Mhm.
So we are constantly in talk with the regulatory agencies like FDA, for instance, or EMA, where we together try to define the best control strategy for our process when we talk about oral. So, but basically the requirements they are the same for injectables or oral. So when we talk about bioburden, for instance, you need to have a very strict control. No matter where you are in your process, of course, in the purification, more downstreams that you are, more restrict controls you need to have there. But anyway, we take care, to have a kind of stability and lower the bioburden, for instance, the whole process. And we build, building quality by design, we build that in our process to make sure that the control will be there anyway. So, and of course, the IPC is part of that we have the constant check along the process to make sure that we are in control.
How do you ensure a quality by design process, Leo? Can you clarify that a little bit?
Actually, as I said, we are very close, but bring also the experience from other products like insulins. For instance, we use a lot the FMAA or FMEA, for instance, and risk analysis. Before we design a new process, or if you need to talk about a unit operations itself, we need to have that very well defined and make sure that all the controls and the control strategy will be there when we plug in this step on the process. So afterwards, the output will be very predictable. This is the way that we spend a lot of time planning and investing before we put a unit operation in place. We used to do a lot of risk analysis and risk management around that to be sure that our process will be designed in a way that the product output will be in the right quality and the right amount
Mhm.
as we expect.